room after a couple weeks break from being here. If you haven't noticed, it's No Shave November. I'd like to invite every man in the room to join me and to watch my progress this next month. So with that, again, welcome back, and if you'll join me for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Secretary Brown, attendance.
Okay, welcome back, you guys. Representative DeBaz.
Present and voting.
Representative Williams.
Present voting.
Representative Gallo. Representative Smith Devon. Representative Brubaker. Representative Malloy. Representative Moeller.
President voting.
Representative Arumagasame. Representative Sabe. Representative Fitch. Representative Smith Theo.
President voting.
Representative McCormick. Representative Zhu. Representative Heck. Representative Wu.
President voting.
Representative Thompson.
President voting.
Representative McHenry.
President voting.
Representative Ladelfa.
President voting.
Representative Thomas.
Present and voting.
Representative Butcher. Representative Wetterston.
President voting.
Representative Cole. Representative Komeyer.
Present and voting.
Representative Lendell.
Present voting.
Representative Liu. Representative Tingley. Representative Lee. Representative Ruska.
Present and voting.
Representative Feaster. Representative Payne.
Present and voting.
Representative Stump. Representative Shaw. Representative Alvarado. Representative Toomey.
President voting.
Representative Gladys.
Present and voting.
Representative Rangaswamy.
President voting.
Representative Ridgway.
President voting.
Speaker Rudenzig.
Present.
Treasurer Schloff. Treasurer Chuang. Parliamentarian McKee.
Present.
Vice President Dooner.
President voting.
Vice President Cruz.
Present and voting.
Vice President Cummins.
President voting.
Vice President Shaw.
Present and voting.
Vice President Hale.
President voting.
President Agarwal.
Present and voting.
Great, thank you. Moving into committee reports. President Agarwal.
Okay, good to see everyone again in the TEFRA room. I hope you all enjoyed Pizza Olympics this earlier today. Any of you guys came out? My professor actually canceled class for Pizza Olympics. No, I'm just kidding. She did cancel class though, so that was great. I could be at the event longer. Okay, so what have we been up to? A lot of co-sponsorships in exec. We started out with $11,000 early this semester. We now have about $4,000 left. So we want to spend that. So I'm going to tell you how we can spend that. How co-sponsorships work are they're open to non-USG organizations and USG organizations that were not able to get funding through regular USG means, so mass funding or rolling funding. So generally new organizations will go through co-sponsorship. So if you have any ideas, also we can also use co-sponsorships for you guys as caucuses if you'd like. Either we have two means for that, exec discretionary or co-sponsorships that we can entertain, any other projects you might have. So please come talk to any exec member if you're interested in using some of this money for great programming for students. Also, a program that came sort of out of co-sponsorship was the Click Complain Chipotle program, and we have selected winners for that program, 5 winners, which we will be recognizing this evening, and we'll have them recognized at the end of my report. So also November, we're not even like halfway through, and we have done so much. The Student State of the University dress, awesome. Some of you may not know, but we had a SACO on Saturday, a fall SACO. It was a live gameplay / laser tag on Mather Quad, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't play, but I watched, and it was a lot of fun. So it was beautiful, and the event went really, really well. Pizza Olympics, of course. IM Soccer, I don't know if you guys know, but we're undefeated right now on the IM Soccer front. Is that correct, Dan Gallo?
And we won our first playoff game last
We won our first playoff game last night, people. USG team. And mass funding is happening this weekend, and Jason will probably talk a lot more about that. But before I go on, Pizza Olympics, I do want to talk a little bit more about that and say that this has been a project that's been going on since June. And a couple of people have been behind this. We created a Pizza Olympics subcommittee for the first time this year, and the individuals in this committee have worked extremely, extremely hard to make that program happen earlier today. Also want to give a shout out to APO, by the way, anybody in APO, because they helped us a lot with setup this morning. So shout out to APO. Shout out to APO. I was looking up there. But first of all, I'd like to give some snazzy USG pins out, and I'd like to give a pin out to Taryn Fitch. Where is she? She worked really hard. I don't think Elena is here, but Elena is not here, but she was co-chairing pretty much with Elena, and this whole morning was on top of everything. The whole event, actually, she's on top of everything. So you get a snazzy pin. Also want to recognize Albert Zhu. Albert, you did a lot of work for this committee as well, PR-wise, on the PR front, and today just shuttling pizza from a lot of different vendors. So really appreciate your work on that. Also, I want to recognize an at-large member, Tadbir Singh, who is an alum, a USG alum, but she still stays true to the organization, as can be exhibited by her commitment to the Pizza Olympics subcommittee. She really got the whole judging aspect of the event going really, really well. So thank you, Tadbir, and we'll give you those later. But I really hope you guys enjoyed it earlier. I think it was a success. We ran out of pizza. All the vendors that showed up ran out of pizza. I think we have a lot of ballots to look through now, right, Taryn? So I'm very happy about that. Lastly, executive one-on-one meetings. I'm meeting with all my exec members to see how they're feeling about USG right now and how their positions are going, but I want to open it up to reps as well. So what I'm doing is having a food meeting or a milkshake meeting, a smoothie meeting. It can be as chill or as professional as you'd like it, but if you want to meet with me, I'd love to meet with you and talk about USG, about life, school, whatever. So hit me up if you want to hang out. So with that, I'm going to pass the torch on to the podium, on to Kevin, who's going to announce our Chipotle winners.
Okay, so real quick, some of you might have heard about this thing that I did at the beginning of October, and I wanted to find a way that we could introduce the feedback forum to the campus community, and I figured there was no better way to do that than with Chipotle. So it's kind of my bad, but I don't have a list of the people's names. So if they're here, they're gonna stand up, come get their Chipotle gift card, and just give them a little thank you, introduce yourself, whatever, and that's how you can find out their name, I guess, but whatever. Give them a little thank you, because the feedback they gave, that's a little graph of the feedback. The big spike is when Click Complain Chipotle started. Obviously this has made a huge difference in just the way we reach out to students in our organization, but from that big spike, there was 5 of the best. So if you are here to pick up your Chipotle gift card, could you please stand up and I'll come get you? Yeah! So, because I actually remember this one, Matt's feedback was very good, like constructive criticism on advising. So thank you for that. It was really cool. Thank you.
Right, so we had 4 other winners, and we will be recognizing those winners in our newsletter at the end of the week, and we'll be giving a little blurb or sentence about what their feedback was about. And exec decided that as much as we'd like to have this like every month, it's best to do it once a semester, because once we start up the program, we get inundated with feedback and we can't actually keep up with it. So we're trying to follow up with all the feedback we're getting, and we're going to do another program next semester. Maybe not Chipotle, maybe something different. I don't know. I don't want to make any promises, but my speculation was, I don't know what's going to happen if we gave out a Melt gift card. I feel like we would just break Google Docs. So I have to rethink that one. But I'm open to points. Any points for me? Okay. Well done.
Thanks, President Agarwal. Vice President Hale.
It is, in fact, No Shave November. Most of the stuff is in the report. You can see we're working on quite a bit. Swami did bring a guest in to committee to hear, so we could hear some stuff about smoking from both sides of the issue, and it looks like we're going to be making some big progress on that, at least in discussing it in the next couple meetings. A couple of things that aren't in the report, I did meet briefly with Tom Matthews on Monday to discuss just very vaguely ideas about getting USG involved in some of the evaluation and surveys that go around campus-wide, so that we can not only gain information for us to use from those surveys, but also give input onto what issues might be interesting to gain some evaluation on as a whole university. Also, since it's caused quite a stir, I will just briefly touch on orientation. The orientation model, a decision that happened a while back, has slowly been promulgating. There was a decision by the president, the provost, and the deans to switch the orientation model from a summer model. So as you guys all experienced it, coming either during the summer or in August for just a 3-day short orientation, it will now be a week-long single orientation for all students immediately before classes. So it seems like a big change. It doesn't really change a whole lot, actually. It will improve the experience for out-of-state students as well as in-state students, since they'll now have a more accurate experience of what Case Western is like. But since I work in that office, I know a little bit more about it, and I can just, for the orientation leaders here anyway, the orientation leader experience is very protected and will be absolutely preserved. I don't think the change will affect our experience at all. And also, it's definitely a change for the better of first-year students, so something exciting happening on that front. I'm open to points.
Representative McHenry.
Will this new change affect welcome days at all?
How it will affect welcome days, I'm unsure of. Undoubtedly, just because there's going to be so much going on during that week, some things will change. But welcome days certainly isn't disappearing.
President Agarwal.
And as per the request of some students, we will be discussing this change in open forum for a short while, where we can get more information and kind of ask you guys about how you feel as well. So.
Any further points? Okay, thank you, James. Vice President Shaw.
Good evening, GA. So the past couple weeks, since we did not have GA, I did not get to announce that rolling funding is officially over. We have funded a total of about $7,500 from about $14,000 that was requested, and now there's zero in the rolling funding account. So this means that mass funding has officially begun. It actually started last week, and the deadline is this Friday. Now, mass funding will have, the evaluation process will begin on Saturday. So if anyone, actually I ask all of you, and I encourage all of you guys to come out on Saturday. I know 10 a.m., at least it's not 9 a.m. Come out at 10 a.m. and learn about the funding process, work with the finance committee, and learn how we allocate the money to the student organizations. Other things, since the finance committee isn't working on rolling funding, which took up most of our committee time, we now have the opportunity to work on goals. Some of these goals include capital tracking, collegiate link how-to videos, transparency, and we're following up with SLIG because next semester SLIG will be coming up. And we still need to catch up on what the SLIG applicants had planned on doing last year. So for mass funding, all the forms are on the USG website. If you know of anyone who's been having problems with them, please tell them to email me, get a hold of me, contact me. I'm having workshops, like informal sessions where students can learn more about the MEST funding process and like how to fill out the forms. The sessions are posted on the USG website, and they can also email me and ask me when they are. And then finally, so I had previously planned on holding a handbook updating session on one of the weekends, but I decided that we were going to do these during the Finance Committee meeting time. So if you've read the handbook and you have some concerns and you want to follow up on a process, or you want something clarified in the handbook for next year's organizations, please come in or send me an email or let any of the committee members know so we can bring this up during committee and update the handbook to make it a more reliable, more easily usable form of information. And with that, I am open to points.
Thank you, Vice President Shaw.
Thank you.
Do we have any reports from our treasurers tonight?
Pretty much in the agenda, and I do urge you to come on this Saturday and get to know the Finance Committee.
Okay. Points for Treasurer Trung. Okay, thank you. Vice President Cummins.
Hi guys, you still have 12 minutes to vote in case you're interested. Anyways, a lot of exciting stuff going on in academics. Today was the curriculum committee or subcommittee of fescue, and I wasn't able to attend, nor Taryn, because of the Pizza Olympics. Had a presentation this morning, but from speaking briefly with Dean Wolkowitz, Case Western had to define what consisted of 1 credit hour, which is actually kind of interesting since there wasn't actually a definition at Case until now. So they spoke a little bit on the draft provision that was written. If you're interested in speaking about that, come to the Academic Affairs Committee at 6 on Wednesday. Other than that, there's a little bit of discussion on the centralization of curricular matters in like the academics undergraduates. So when fescue was created 4 years ago, I think the whole idea was to create a more streamlined and accountable way of faculty governance in the undergraduate realm, at least. And so some of the committee members find that the individual degree giving schools are a little too decentralized. They're little silos. So I'm curious to see what the minutes say about that. I'm open to points.
Okay. Thank you, Vice President Cummins. Vice President Cruz.
Hey guys, just once again trying to congratulate everyone on a really great Pizza Olympics today. That was awesome. It was really great having a lot of help there. Secondly, Twing Study Over is coming up. We've got some awesome things planned. Maybe some surprises in the works, we'll see. Other than that, if you haven't filled out the Rep Spotlight survey, do it, because if you do it, you can get candy. And everybody likes candy, so keep that in mind. Yes?
Just a point, I don't think I've actually sent it out to USG yet.
My bad.
So I'll be sending it out tonight, don't worry.
My bad. Fill that out when you get it. It's fun stuff. Like they're like, for those of you who don't know, it's just like a bunch of really silly questions to help everyone get to know each other. I don't know, fun facts, strange things. Also, like one of the questions last year was like, what is the strangest animal you've ever touched? I mean, I don't know, fun stuff. Anyways, fill that out. Other than that, I'm open to points.
Points for VP Cruz. Okay, thank you. Vice President Dooner.
Hey everyone. A couple exciting things in the IT world. I feel like we're sort of at the top of the IT roller coaster and we'll be going down soon. Sort of strap in for a new media vision design in the spring. Just saw some concepts for a new media vision. It looks very pretty, very usable, and it will have, tentatively, it's going to have audio transcription of your courses, so you can search by what your professor said. So that's something to look forward to. If you're interested in opining about the new media vision design, the designer is very interested in opinions. So let me know, and I'll hook you guys up. Secondly, there's a Moodle pilot, which we've been discussing. I know more about that now. The classes are in my board report. The big ones are Engineering 131, Engineering 145, and Math 126. There's a couple nursing ones, a couple language ones, and a couple other grad ones. If you're in any of those, I'd be interested to hear. I will be TAing for 131, hopefully, but I won't be in any of them, so I don't have that perspective, but I'd like it if someone wants to provide that to me. Also Case Wireless is a perennial topic, and Chet Ramey, who is the chief architect of the Case network, emailed me earlier tonight. So that's the beginning of a hopefully beautiful dialogue, and I think USG has a pretty pivotal role in getting input here, because like most people, when Case Wireless doesn't work, like you just connect to CaseGuest, right? Like you don't. It's really easy to like not actually troubleshoot, so that's making it difficult for ITS to troubleshoot also, because they don't have any bug reports, they don't have any tickets to go off of. So I think USG, I think we have a role here in sort of gathering problems that have been happening, and we can pass those along. So look for news out of IT committee in that regard. And with that, I'm open to points.
Points. Representative Williams.
Could you please clarify what you mean by student backup? We'll probably have an update next week.
So that's another initiative. We're working on a sort of a backup solution for student files. So something you would put like your papers in, not necessarily all of your music and videos and stuff, but at least your papers and that kind of thing. We're hoping to strike a deal with Dropbox. That would be really cool, because a lot of people already use it, so maybe getting more space or something like that for Dropbox at case.edu addresses or something would be ideal. But update next week. So.
Further points? Thank you, VP Dooner.
Sweet. Thank you.
Parliamentarian McKee.
Hey everyone, my office hours are printed in the agenda. Feel free to stop by and talk about anything USG related or anything just life related. Feel free to chat. My point of the week, for most of our discussions, Speaker Denzik runs a speakers list of whose turn it is to talk next. And so one thing is that if it ever reaches you and you forgot what you were going to say or it's no longer relevant, feel free to just say pass, and that'll keep the discussion moving along.
Thank you. President Agarwal, would you like to give a Compass report?
So I'm first on the list for the ad hoc committees tonight. So Compass, last Thursday, we went on a really awesome tour of Uptown, the Uptown project. We got to wear hard hats, and we got to go on both sides of the project, the Village 115 side as well as the CIA side. Got to go inside, got to go on different floors, and really talk a lot with the Director of Real Estate on Case's side. So Glenn Nichols, VP Nichols, also joined us for that tour, and so it was really awesome to have his input as VP of Student Affairs as to what he thought the project was like. So I have an email, like a really long email that I sent out to Compass detailing everything that I saw. And I can forward that to GA if you'd like, but I'll just kind of throw out some cool stuff that I found out that either is a rumor that you might be, going around that we will have or not in the project, or some things you just never knew. For one thing, these are all confirmed, by the way. I'm not making this up. This is not maybe. This is like it's happening. So a Verizon store on the left side, 115th side Verizon store next to Barnes & Noble's. And that'll have a cafe that's connected to Barnes & Noble's, and that will be open past the bookstore time. Next to the cafe will be a Constantino's Market. They're looking to have that be open to students, will open to the community until 9 p.m. That whole side, 115 side, that's got a scheduled opening for March 2012. March 2012 that will open, and everything on the other side will be a couple of months later, so like June or July 2012. On the other side is a slew of restaurants. So Panera, confirmed. Jimmy John's, confirmed. Chipotle, confirmed. I don't know if you guys know who Jonathan Sawyer is. He's a very famous chef. He's got a restaurant on East 4th Street. He's got a restaurant coming as well, and a Japanese bistro, and just some other funky stuff going on. And of course, there will be housing on top of both of these buildings, residential facilities for both these buildings, and MoCA. MoCA is scheduled to open in September 2012. So I have a lot more information in this email, which I can send to GA. And if you have any more questions about Uptown, you can ask me because I know now. So, and with that, I'm open to points.
Representative McHenry.
Which students are going to live in the new residential facilities?
These are not necessarily open to students. This is not case housing. This is a completely separate real estate project. So this, I mean, if students would like to live in these dorms, or not dorms, but apartments, condominiums,
Campus housing.
It's not owned by Case. So it's a completely separate apartment real estate firm that is renting out these condominiums, 1- and 2-bed condominiums. One thing I can say about graduate and undergraduate housing that Case is responsible for is that those 2 towers that are part of the Triangle Towers, Case owns the first 2. The one in the back is not Case's. So in those 2 towers is 95% graduate students and 5% undergrads. And they will be redoing the facade of the front of that building so it looks nice like Uptown will. So that's as much as I can say about that. But there is no new housing being made for Case students.
Representative Williams.
Do we know which, if any, of the locations will be accepting Case Cash?
We're going to try for as many as possible. So definitely Chipotle, Panera, and all those small vendors. Don't know about the restaurants, the fancy restaurants, or the bar. But those couple of restaurants, probably Constantino's as well, should be accepting Case Cash.
Vice President Duder.
I think a Jimmy John's that took Case Cash would be really bad for.
True statement.
Do you know, is the housing owned by University Circle Incorporated? Just curious.
It's not owned by anybody. It's their own firm that is building these apartments, and they're renting them out.
New to the scene. Okay.
So they will be responsible, this firm, it's called like MHN or something, they're responsible for advertising their apartments and doing the whole lease. So no university or institution owns them.
Okay.
Final points?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Do we have any representatives to speak for diversity and inclusion tonight? Okay, Mr. Vaughn.
Hello, everyone. The Diversity and Inclusion Committee has been very active recently. We had our interfaith retreat about 2 weeks ago that went really well. As you can see in the agenda, there's 3 new events that we're helping to host. There's the Share the Vision Arts and Poetry Coffee House, and we need volunteers to actually speak poetry at the event if you have something you wanted to present. We're also looking for cultural performance groups or people who have art that they wanted to show off at the event. And if you just want to get involved in the planning of the event, or in volunteering to set up, we are looking for those types of people too, so you can always email me, and I will give you more information about that. My committee specifically is holding diverse desserts on November 21st through the 23rd in Nord, where we'll be handing out different cultural desserts from around the world on different days. And that's just basically to raise awareness about different food styles around the world, and the food will be free. And then What Would You Do is another event we're going to be having in Nord just to educate people about raising a family and socioeconomic differences throughout the Cleveland area. I'm open to points.
Any points?
Yes. Sorry, could you repeat that? Okay.
Any other points? Okay, thank you. Do we have any representatives for Student Sustainability Council? Excuse me. Right. Thank you.
Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt Moss and I am from the Student Sustainability Council. Here to let you know on a couple things we're working on now and a couple updates on things we have been working on. We are contributing an article to the Observer, so there should be one coming out this week. There will be one every other week, so keep an eye out for that. We are working with the Sierra Club. They have a Beyond Coal campaign where they're trying to bring first energy power plants up to code, and they're looking for support from the community, including CASE. So keep your eyes out for representatives in the dining halls to get signatures for that. We had Food Day last Wednesday in Northside. I don't know if any of you attended. We had pretty good attendance there. It was a joint project with the Student Dietetic Association, so that was a good success. We are in the final stages of conducting a recycling bin audit with the Director of Sustainability. So if you're missing any recycling bins in your dorm or building, please let someone know. We are continuing working on the Twing study over, trying to make that zero waste, so that's rolling along nicely. We're also working on a bike co-op project with a MEM student who is interested in getting one started on this campus. So we are investigating other co-ops at other campuses in universities nearby, so that should be coming along shortly. And I'm open to points.
Any points?
Okay. Yes.
Colin.
Can you talk about the bike co-op program a little bit more? Is that where there's a fleet of bicycles available for students' use, or is it that? Go ahead.
Well, ideally, we would have bikes that the university or the community university circle owns, and that would be available for rent by students. So, ideally, that would be at no additional charge to students. You would just, use your case ID or something to take a bike, and you could return it at various stations on campus and around University Circle and the area. Baldwin Wallace has a co-op that works similar to that way. I believe Oberlin has one too, and they're working on one. And so we're trying to see if that's possible. This is a project from an MEM student, so we're helping her with contacts and support things she needs to get that rolling. So hopefully we will have something like that in the near future.
Any other points? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving into caucus reports. Representative Thomas. Any report?
As you can see, we're going to be having an event not this Friday, but the next Friday, where we have our peer advising going on where we help undergraduates pick classes. So it'll be 12:30 to 1:30 community hour in Nord 400.
Thank you. Is there any report for arts and sciences? Representative Mueller?
We're just looking forward to our meeting with the dean next Monday. If you have any issues any arts and sciences issues you'd like to send our way, feel free to talk to one of us.
Okay, thank you. Nursing caucus, any report?
Working in conjunction with USNA to address student concerns within the nursing school.
Thank you. Is there any report for the Weatherhead caucus? Okay. With that, we move into old business. Are there any nominations for our open position in the nursing caucus? Any nominations for the nursing representative? Okay. Are there any nominations for the first year commuter rep position? Okay. With that, the speaker will entertain a motion. Representative Williams.
I move to remove Bill B 21-08 from the table. Second.
Okay. We will limit discussion on this to 3 minutes. Are there any points for discussion on Bill B 21-08? Any points for discussion? Representative Mueller. Any dissent? Representative Brubaker?
What is Sigma Tau Delta?
Would anyone like to address it? Vice President Shaw.
It's the English Honors Society.
Okay. So there was a call previous question. It was seconded. Is there any dissent now? Okay. Then we will move into the vote. We'll be using iClicker Anonymous method tonight for this. Parliamentarian McKee, are you ready?
Yes.
Does anybody have an iClicker?
Yeah, does anybody need an iClicker before we begin voting? If so, please head to the center of the room. As always, A will be voting yes in favor of the bill, B will be voting no, and C will be to abstain. So voting has started. Okay.
Okay. Bill B 21-08 passes. Right. Representative, oh, sorry, excuse me. Speaker will entertain another motion. Vice President Hale.
I move to remove Bill B 21-09.
Okay. Again, 3 minutes for discussion tops. Any points for discussion on Bill B 21-09? Are there any points for discussion on this additional funding bill? Representative Mueller.
I guess I just want further assurance that more is actually going to be done with, wait, never mind. I'm talking about something completely different. Never mind.
Okay. Representative DeBaz. Is there any dissent? There was a call to previous question and it was seconded. Any dissent? Okay. Then we'll move into the vote. Again, we'll be using the iClickers anonymously.
You may begin voting. Once again, A is yes in favor, B is no, and C is to abstain. Okay, I'm gonna go until 25 seconds and then cut it off. As a note, those of you who voted E are considered to have abstained.
Okay, so Bill B 21-09 passes. All right. Okay. Representative McHenry.
I move to remove Bill 21-10 from the table.
Okay. We will have 5 minutes for discussion on the spring budget. Are there points for discussion? Representative Mueller.
So this is the one I actually wanted to talk about, but I want to clarify one of my statements from the last meeting. I guess what I wanted to say was that I know that last year's spring retreat, really the whole budget really was spent on just food. And I want reassurance that, I don't know, like maybe there's bigger plans for it this year, and that's great. Then definitely go with it, have the budget. But if there's not going to be bigger plans for the spring retreat, I'm not okay with having such a big budget for it.
Does anyone have a response to that comment? Vice President Hale.
So exec's pretty excited about the spring retreat this year. I personally am looking into other venues we can use, like the College Club, the farm, some places that do charge a fee for us to use their space, just to get us off campus and thinking again like we were during the fall retreat. So that's something that we need budget for, but of course we'll most likely be serving food again. But I don't know, get excited for it. I think it's going to be a good retreat.
Representative Brubaker.
One thing where this is the spring GA retreat or the executive? The GA retreat.
Colleen.
Jay, well, I would like to recommend that you change, I'd like to encourage a change in the carryover line in income, estimated rollover, sorry, to reflect 20,650, so that you show a balanced budget. Because your income, your semester expenses are 170,650, but your income is only 171. And I think, oh, I see, never mind. You're gonna make money if it works. Okay, never mind. So sorry, just realized what I said when I said it out loud.
Okay. Thank you. Representative Kallmeyer.
The student sustainability council line to say category service instead of
Can you please restate the amendment?
change the student sustainability council line instead of saying category operating service.
So the proposed amendment is to change the category from operating to service. Is there any dissent?
Would it be friendly?
It's friendly.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be friendly to the assembly, not the author of the bill. That's okay. All right, so the amendment will pass then. It's now service. Representative Lee. Granted. Representative Thompson.
Has there been any change with previous spring semester budgets for the exec sheet? The reason I ask is because I always recall it coming in under budget. So maybe we can allocate that better.
Is there a response to that, President Agrawal?
So it did come significantly under budget this year because we didn't go to Colleen's house. So when
all the money goes.
when we do a significant amount of work at Colleen's house, and we also do another bonding activity once we're in her town. We didn't do any of that this time, but it did help with our retreat previous years. So we set it at 2,000 to accommodate what we have done in the past. We've come close to using it. We didn't use it all last year, but we have gone close to using all of it in previous years, depending on how much the president chooses to pack into those couple of days. So we give them up to $2,000 for, and this retreat is generally 3 to 4 to 5 days. It's never been 5, but it at least goes to 4 days of retreat, and it's almost all day. So we do quite a bit of work in the summer, and we need to be fed so that we can survive. And we do a couple of bonding activities as well. So that's why we have that big budget.
Representative Thompson.
I guess, okay, the reason I bring it up is because just when student organizations see that, some of the biggest allocations are still less than $2,000, and I feel like if people look at what the organizations get for the whole semester, and then they look at this budget and they see one line item for 5 people, it's $2,000, they just might be a little concerned. Like, I agree with you, but if you know it's like not going to come in that much, then.
Well, to clarify, it's 11 people and not 5 people. Oh, okay. That's one thing. So 6 more people. And also, I'm ready, and I'm sure future presidents will be ready to justify. If you'd like to know exactly what we do in those retreats, I can certainly tell you what goes down. As well as if you look at budgets to comparable organizations, the retreat budget is always pretty high. One of the biggest line items for any organization, because we do a lot of work on a retreat. And we do go off campus. So we have never gone higher than $2,000 for this retreat, and we don't always use all of it, but it's necessary to have at least that amount depending on how much needs to be done. And we do a significant amount of work. So this money helps us with our work.
Vice President Cruz. Vice President Shaw, response. Okay. Representative McHenry, would you still like to make a comment?
Call the previous question.
Okay. There was no second, so we'll stay in discussion. Representative Williams.
Yes. I just really quickly, last point, I guess, to be made for like the executive retreat though, that's about $50 per person per day, which if you assume a 5-day retreat, and to make the math easy, it was for 10 people, but I mean, that's still $50 per person. And if you look, even if you, I know that it goes to more than just food, but it does seem a little bit on the kind of high side. And further, for the inauguration, like I know it's kind of a nice event. I know it's a, you know, it's kind of this nice like year in reflection and dinner and whatnot. But $3,000 still seems like a fair bit to spend for, you know, like a 2.5-hour event. That's, you know, sure the Vice President of Student Affairs at Glenn Nichols attends, but just nothing else.
President Agarwal, would you like to respond?
Okay. Well, it's not just the Vice President of Student Affairs. It is the President of the university who comes to this event, as well as other administrators. And I don't know. It's a very important event, I would say. And it's the only very sophisticated event that we have. We invite very special people to this event. And it does cost money. We didn't actually, in prior years, we've reserved a work at Atrium, and that costed a lot of money, and we had to even pay more money to Bon Appetit to cater there because there's no kitchen. So that did cost a lot of money. Last year, we moved it to the ballroom to save money. Catering did end up being still expensive, though. So we have to accommodate for these things. Prices have gone up for everything across the board for food and whatnot, and it did go over last year. $2,000 for our event. So this is why we have accounted for $3,000. We can see where we can cut this time to see, but it did cost up to this amount last year. And we'd like to have a similar ceremony that we did last year because it did go very well. So we'd like to have a similar event. If it doesn't cost up to $3,000, then we'll cut it for the following year. But this, to have at least a comparable inauguration as last year, we'd like to keep it at this amount. And with regards to your point about, again, the retreat, you can't really make the calculation $50 per person because that's not how it works. We don't give every exec member $50 worth of food. We do a lot of other things as well, so that we account for. We purchase items, we go to different events. So we don't calculate it that way. And again, it's up to the president to decide how they want to hold their retreat and where they want to take the students. So we give them that amount at least to work with because past presidents have used up to $1,000. So we give the next president up to $2,000 to decide how they want to make their 4 or 5-day retreat.
I'm going to take these last final comments and then we can either move into the vote or extend discussion. Representative Brubaker.
I guess to the exec retreat, I initially had some reservations about the budget, but when I actually looked at the GA retreat, we actually do spend roughly the same per person on that retreat as well. So it's not like the exec board is getting a significantly larger amount of money for that. And also I think because knowing what does go on at the retreat, it is important to get that work done, and while I think the exec board can always be frugal, that money can always be rolled over. But I actually have no problem with this figure.
Okay, Vice President Dooner.
Oops, sorry. I guess in the interim, I've rethought my idea, but I'll say it in case someone thinks it's a good idea. And it was sort of, if this money goes back into exec discretionary afterwards, the money that is for the exec retreat, I believe we're talking about, then why not just put it in exec discretionary to begin with? And I guess there's a good reason that the exec board could spend it before the retreat, but I don't know. That's a thought, I guess. I don't want to like upset the apple cart, but I just thought of it.
Colleen.
The only thing I want to say is that I find it interesting and it's completely admirable that the things you're hardest on are things for yourselves. And as your advisor, it both makes me incredibly proud and at the same time frustrates me because I believe with my whole heart that you deserve every dime and that the most important piece of this is the percentage you're giving to others, which is significant. Okay, I'll say that first. The other thing is, could the exec budget get cut? Absolutely. If you give whatever amount you give, the president will make it work. It's the difference between how it's spent. In other words, if you cut that by 1,000, then they're going to eat, they're going to eat peanut butter and jelly, and they're going to, they'll make it work. It's going to work. So what I would rather see you do is come up with an actual figure. You can debate how much money they spend on themselves all you want, but the bottom line is give them a figure to move on. Because I really, really believe that you need to say to yourselves every once in a while, I'm worth $55 or whatever dollars a day. Because I see how hard exec trains during that time. It is a lot of training. So, but my point here is that, yes, it does go back into exec discretionary and ultimately goes to other groups. It does. But it's a safeguard. So cut it by 500, make a recommendation, just move forward, and if it's cut, then it will work one way or another. But spend a little on yourself sometimes, that's all I'm going to say.
Vice President Hale.
Just one thing, because I feel like we're kind of debating this, whether or not we should be spending money on ourselves or send it elsewhere. But I feel like one part of our purpose that gets lost a little bit in these money debates is that half of our purpose is to liaise with the university, and doing that and training for that and spending time learning how to do that takes time and money. So don't let that go away, because I feel like that's an important part of this organization to me. Not all of our money, not necessarily just needs to go to student groups.
At this point, I will either entertain a motion to amend, extend discussion, or call the previous question. Vice President Shaw.
Can I amend something? Or this is from a previous amendment.
Yes.
Okay, so whenever we change Student Sustainability Council to service, the percentages are now operating is 8.9%, and then service is 3.4%.
Okay, noted. Representative Gallo.
Call a previous question.
Second.
Is there any dissent to moving into the vote? Okay. Then we will move into the vote. We're going to use the eye clickers anonymously again, and you may now vote.
As always, A is yes, B is no, and to clarify, C, D, or E, all mark that you are abstaining. We'll go until 29 seconds.
I don't know why it goes that way.
Bill B 21-10 passes. Seeing no other old business, we move into new business. Do I have a motion? Representative Brubaker. Granted. Representative McHenry.
I move to open nominations for the College of Arts and Sciences.
Second. Okay. We'll now be taking nominations for the open representative position in the College of Arts and Sciences. Representative Williams.
I'd like to nominate Brittany Radcliffe.
Representative McHenry.
I'd like to nominate Catherine Madalena. Catherine is spelled Kathryn.
Any further nominations? Representative Moeller.
Sean Linden.
Other nominations? Okay. Seeing no other nominations, we'll leave those open. Representative McHenry.
I move to introduce Bill B 21-11.
Speaker in the pro, Vice President Shaw.
I defer to
Okay.
Representative Payne.
All right, for Finance Committee, we have some new organizations that need to be recognized. Although I think just the one is actually the...
There needs to be an amendment.
Yeah, B shouldn't be on there.
Yes.
Point of order, amendments can happen in
Later,
discussion, not.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's the student community at Covenant to be officially recognized by USG as an organization. And I'm open to points.
Vice President Hale.
What is the student community? Okay, it's basically a group where the students can get together and feel comfortable discussing faith and religion and find others with similar interests in those areas, and just like a safe environment for them to discuss and explore that kind of thing.
Vice President Dooner, did you have your hand up? Okay. Representative Thompson?
How is the Covenant Group different from the, say, 5 or 6 other Christian organizations?
It's not purely,
It's not only revolved around like the Christian religion, it's like all religions, so like anyone can come in and discuss and like talk about their faith.
Further points. Representative Rangaswamy.
Will this group be working with the Interfaith Council? Have there's been any discussion with the Interfaith Council? Because I think they have a similar mission, I guess you could say, than as this student group.
As of right now, they're two separate things, and as far as working together, that's future.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure there's no conflicts. And
We can suggest it to them to see if they like would or if they had plans to.
Okay, because they seem to be similar. So, thanks.
Mr. Vaughn.
Going off that, there's also another group through the Interfaith Center that has similar backgrounds if they wanted to look into that as well.
Representative McHenry.
What is the Interdisciplinary Journal of Global Development?
That is not supposed to be on the bill, and it's going to be amended off when we get in discussion.
Treasurer Trillin.
Point of personal privilege.
Granted. Any final points for our speaker? Okay. Thank you, Representative Payne. Is there a speaker in the con? No. Then we move into discussion, and we'll have discussion for 5 minutes. Vice President Shaw.
I move to amend where it says interdisciplinary Journal of Global Development. Just take that out.
Second. Is there any dissent to the amendment? Okay, then it will be amended as such. Interdisciplinary Journal of Global Development will be removed. President Agarwal.
I think one important thing about this group is that student community at Covenant. And so what this means, I've actually been communicating with the student who started this group throughout the summer because she's been trying to start this for a while. It's kind of a group that interfaces with the Covenant, Church of the Covenant. So you can see all these groups that are trying to really build connections with local religious affiliated organizations and churches and whatnot. We had one for Hillel earlier in the semester. So this is another group that is trying to kind of work directly with a community partner, community organization. So student community at Covenant, these group of K students would be a group that kind of interfaces and communicates with the Church of the Covenant and their kind of projects as well.
Representative Feaster.
So what does the student that wants to start this group think is missing from, I know that the two organizations that were mentioned earlier do have similar like mission statements, so is it just the community connection aspect that makes it different from those groups, or like are there other things that she thinks need to be addressed?
From what I understand, I believe that is what it is that we're missing that we are neighbors with the Church of the Covenant, yet CASE has no connection with them besides, students who choose to go themselves. So that's from my understanding, this is what the student wanted to do, was have, a CASE organization that works directly with their church and she didn't tell me much more than that, what their exact projects are going to be. I think the Finance Committee would know more about that in terms of the proposal that they sent. But from what she told me, it was just she was trying to build this connection between the church and Case Western Reserve.
So then I guess my question is, like, if it's an interfaith, which is my understanding of what it is, like multiple religions, like it's affiliated with Church of the Covenant, but it's not Christian still? That's, I guess, where my confusion comes from.
Do you have a response to that, or?
I think I'm going to need some help from JSLA, because from what I understand, I didn't know about the interfaith aspect. It might have been something that they added on later, because again, I've been talking with her since July about this. So when she wanted to start the organization, I needed some guidance on how to do that. So from my understanding, at first, all it was building the connection. I don't know if they're focused strictly on Christianity or they have interfaith objectives, but if anybody from the Finance Committee wants to touch upon their proposal, give some details about that to see more about what this group does.
Parliamentarian McKee.
Speaking a little bit to what the question was, the Church of the Covenant, while it is a church, it does invest heavily in interfaith in the community. So while it is a church sort of sponsoring an interfaith organization, that is something that Church of the Covenant is known to do and known to promote.
Representative Moeller, would you still like to make a comment?
You're welcome.
Representative Rangaswamy, would you still like to make a comment?
Just from a little quick research I did, Church of the Covenant is apparently, it's empowered to, this is from the official website from the Cleveland chapter of the Church of the Covenant. They are more Christian related. It says empowered to express Christ's compassion. However, I do think some of the programs do seem to be more interfaith related, so I do believe this would be an interfaith sort of initiative, I suppose, but just a sort of comment from what I just read.
Thank you. Representative Payne.
Just to clarify what they were saying before, when we were talking about it in Finance Committee, there was kind of a focus in there about different types of worship. So maybe like within, even just within Christianity, just alternative types of worship. But there was mention of also just not purely Christianity in there.
Representative McHenry.
This is nothing against them, but as Representative Thompson mentioned, we already have numerous different interfaith groups on campus. I do love the fact that they're trying to connect with Church of the Covenant. I know the person, Eileen, there, she loves having case students come, and she loved the chance to connect. But I would personally rather see some of the interfaith organizations we already have try and make a connection with Church of the Covenant before we start up a new group.
We have hit time, so I'll either entertain motion to extend discussion or call the previous question, or to table, excuse me, not call the previous question. Representative Gallo. Okay. Is there any dissent to tabling the bill? Okay. Then Bill B 21-11 is tabled. Representative Heck. Yes.
One personal privilege.
Granted. Okay. Speaker will entertain a motion. Representative Mueller. Second. Speaker in the pro, Vice President Shaw.
Okay, so this budget that the Finance Committee did is from the past 2 weeks, so it is a large sum of money. A highlight on what we funded, one of the Finance Committee's favorite items was 3 rubber chickens for the juggling club. So same old, I am open to points.
Points for Vice President Shaw. Vice President Dooner.
Is it just me or is mock trial on top of every one of these?
probably.
Okay.
They've asked for a lot of funding this
so
year.
I didn't think of it. Okay, so I'm not going crazy.
Representative Thomas? Okay. Representative Smith?
I think mock trial just discovered that they can ask for stuff. I remember somebody saying that, so that's why they say ask me a lot.
Representative Thompson?
Why was the dinner for 15 for the National Association of Newspapers not approved?
Okay, so when we looked at this event, it just seemed like a nice dinner. It didn't seem like it would encourage students to, you know, do something productive. I don't know if anyone on the finance committee would like to.
Representative Toomey.
I believe the way we contributed was like after going to different events, we contributed as members of the music industry going out to different stuff. One has to pay for it. That's I believe how we contributed.
Any further points for Vice President Shaw? Okay. Thank you. Unless you have any closing remarks.
No.
Thanks. Okay.
Thank you.
Is there a speaker in the con? Okay, then we'll move into discussion for 5 minutes again. Points for discussion. Representative Thomas. Noted. Just a point of information for y'all, for grammar errors or spelling errors, it doesn't require any kind of formal amendment. You can just let us know. Yeah. Representative Moeller.
I'd like to move to table.
Is there any dissent to tabling the bill? Okay. Then Bill B 21-12 is tabled. Seeing no other new business, we are now moving into open forum. Secretary Brown, if you would like to begin with the feedback report.
Okay, as you guys saw earlier from Parliamentarian McKee's graph that he showed of the Google Doc, we've got a lot of them. So we've got a couple comments from, one of them was from our past president, Mintry Wynn. He was very excited to see the USG website changed. With his, quote unquote, his face is not on the top of the page. So he's very excited. There's a couple of questions about student life and the safety program from earlier this semester. A complaint about noise on the roof of Leutner at midnight. Construction work apparently. And a lot of people are enjoying the new Greenie bus route that goes, is the express route from the village to Adelbert and back.
All right, thank you. We are now going to have our discussion on orientation and the changes coming to that. President Agarwal.
Okay, so as was discussed earlier, changes within orientation. And just to give you some background on that, we've got a USG alum to speak to this issue, Mr. Shengbo Wang. If you'd like to grab a mic, or you can even address the podium if you'd like.
What?
You can even come to the podium if you'd like.
Yeah, let's do it for old time's sake.
Let's do it for old time's sake. For all of you who don't know, Shengbo was a VP of Academic Affairs Emeritus a year or two ago. So, welcome back.
Love how you say it. Okay. I want to first of all thank everyone for this opportunity. USG was a very integral experience in my college career. I learned a lot from it, so I'm going to get right to this issue so I don't keep you guys here longer than you need to be. All right, so as Divya said, I am Shengbo Wang. I currently serve on Faculty Senate Committee on Undergraduate Education. You guys know it as FISCU. They make all the decisions about undergrads, all right? So it was said at last Tuesday's meeting that they want to change orientation from the current model to the August model where all incoming freshmen come during August. Now this is confirmed today as I've gotten an email, and that this change will be effective fall 2012. So starting next summer, all freshmen will come during August. So now a lot of discussion was talked about on FISCU, so I'm going to share some of the arguments that's been said by the administration, and I will also go over some arguments that was said by the students. So the administration, voiced by, especially by Vice President Rick Bischoff and Dean Wolkowitz of Undergraduate Studies, they're saying The reason why for the change of orientation to the August model is because there's an inflow imbalance. What that means is that we currently have, with this class, the freshman class, 55% of students are from out-of-state Ohio. And that is an incredible cost burden for students and families when they have to come here in the middle of July. So that's the first imbalance. And also when you have all these students from out of state coming in during the August session, you don't have sort of that diversity during the July sessions. Number two, there's a class registration imbalance. So that argument is saying, like, with an overwhelming amount of students coming in during the third session, it's really hard for undergraduate studies to gauge, all right, how many classes do we reserve open for the July sessions? It's very hard to gauge that aspect. So having everyone come during the August session, it's much easier for class registration. And also, another argument they're making is every other school in the UAA, our conference, and university that's similar to us in size and competitiveness all use the August model. And they also want to make it clear that budget is not an issue. And this is confirmed by the fact that enrollment and management actually does have a much larger budget than new parent-student programs than before. So don't be concerned about that. So so on the student side, we thought it was, now I just want to voice some of these arguments so it doesn't come up again in discussions, is that first of all, it is logistically very difficult to have all 1,000 students on campus. You know, having all these students trying to register courses, you know, having sufficient number of computers and computer labs, that's going to be really hard. Also, we argue for the fact that it is less interpersonal because, you know, you have all 1,000 students, you know, together in a foreign environment. They don't know anyone, they don't know anybody, so that can be intimidating. You know, there's less of that personal time. And also, I understand for the nursing students out here, you have training during the August session, that 3-day training. That also makes it difficult, and they haven't addressed that. So a couple of the things that the faculty mentioned about our arguments from the students' point of view is that advising, once again, academic advising is easier because by contract, all faculty have to be here during the month of August. So all faculty will be here and they have the capacity to advise. And second of all, they kind of turned our argument against us, saying that the new model will make course registration easier and there is actually more time for interpersonal experiences between the students and their orientation leaders and the faculty and staff. They haven't quite disclosed how that's going to happen yet. So hold on, which is why I spoke with President Agarwal earlier this evening that she will try to get Vice President Bischoff to answer some of those concerns. Now, as for tonight, I just kind of want a discussion to see how you guys feel about this, especially I want the opinion from the first year representatives. You guys just went through orientation, and the most compelling argument for them is that this is for the students. You know, we want to make a really good impression on incoming freshmen, so I really want to hear your input. So that being said, when I know that, I can make a better case next Tuesday on FISCU. So now I'll open up to points, I guess, if I remember this correctly. Yes, Representative Thompson.
So are they basically planning to hire triple the amount of OLs, or are they going to triple the size of each group?
Well, I don't know how many OLs exactly they're going to hire, but they do plan on keeping those small groups, so you have that sort of interpersonal experience. And they also made the argument by having the August session, it will allow freshmen to bond better with their residential colleges. So they haven't elaborated on how that works either. So I don't know. Representative? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you do it?
Representative Lindell. Brandon. Representative Rangaswamy.
I guess just to offer my feedback, I am a freshman. I felt personally having this sort of, I want to say this 2 sessions, one like both days, one having orientation was a little more relaxed. It wasn't as stressful. One of my biggest concerns with packing everything in August is sort of the stress factor of doing everything at once. I did feel a lot more relaxed if I had 2 different sessions. One was like a teaser and I sort of got to feel what the campus was about. Other was a little more elaborate and I actually got to settle down.
Where's your hometown, just wondering? Michigan. I just want to, because they use that out-of-state argument against us, saying that, like, you know, this August session actually is more beneficial for out-of-state students. So I just want to see it. Okay.
President Agarwal.
I just want to make a
quick comment. Please use your microphones when you're making these comments. I actually want to use this Media Vision session to pass it on to someone. So please use your microphone so we can hear your great comments.
Okay. Representative Ridgway.
Do you know if they will still have like the case venture thing, or would that be like
That will be kept, yes.
That will be kept. Okay, because just wondering.
Oh, and international orientation will still be its own separate thing, so that's not going to be taken away either.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Shaw.
So we actually did discuss this in our caucus meeting as the freshman caucus, and some of the points that were brought up in opposition to this change were, one, like Representative Rangaswamy said, having that experience to see the campus and having the difference between seeing the campus. Personally, I'm from Chicago, so out of state again. Seeing the campus, getting used to it, I had never visited the campus before until that orientation, but it was the third one, and then moving straight in was really tough because I wanted to delineate the difference between getting used to what Case was as an institution and what the area around it was like, and then having to move in at the same time was really, really crazy and a lot of stress for not only my parents but a couple other parents that that I overheard discussion about. Another thing was scheduling with I believe vacations or something like that. Making the choices allowed for more flexibility within the students and the families' schedules over the summer. And let's see, I think that's all for now. Thank you.
Vice President Hale, did you still have a comment? Okay. Representative Smith, did you have a comment?
Yes. So, from information that I've heard through the orientation leaders from this past year, and I've talked to Amanda McCarthy, who's the coordinator right now for orientation, it looks to be like 75 to 80 orientation leaders, but again, that's 20 more, 30 more, whatever. So, and that number could easily change depending on how many students we have. They're really trying to keep that small group interaction. So, if the biggest jump that I heard was from a 10 students per group to 15. And the new kids aren't going to know the difference because they've never been to an orientation before. So, I mean, that interaction, that small group interaction is there. That spirit that keeps getting thrown around, that attitude, that doesn't come from the events or when we have the events. That definitely comes from the people who work at orientation. And if we can get more qualified people, because this is at the end of the summer and not in the middle, so people who are on internships and co-ops and are great representatives of this university can be orientation leaders and show what this university is about to the freshmen, then awesome. That is just greatest news. Because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to do it again, and now I had the chance to. So I know that those questions were thrown about. I just wanted to answer those real quick.
Vice President Cummins.
Ditto to what Theo said, but also I'm not really, I don't know if any of us are really qualified to, compare the two different models because we haven't experienced both models at the same time. And in that sense, I kind of trust our administrative overlords to do what is best in the interests of undergraduate students. Glenn Nichols has been doing this for a really long time, and I know that Dean Wolkowitz told me basically when we went to the summer model about 7 years ago, there was just as much uproar going towards the summer model as there is now to the fall model. So I, for one, am more angry, I guess, upset that they made this decision without talking to any student. So
I just want to say I want to hear the positives about orientation that you experienced, so we make sure we don't compromise anything when they do move it to the new model. So keep going.
Everyone that has your hands up right now, I've got you on the list. It's going to take a bit because there's a lot of people that want to talk. Representative Alvarado.
I'm from out-of-state. I'm from Texas, so airfare is really like a burden to my family. So moving it to the August is great. I like that. But I also think it's awesome because I felt like during the summer orientation we did a lot of like pointless activities. You know, like it was really fun, but I was like, I want to go home. So, like, I think combining it will like cut down on like those like long hours of just like, do you guys have any questions for us? And we have like 2 hours to wait for like another rotation or something.
Okay.
So I think that's really great. I'm just worried about like the nursing students because a lot of nursing students were like me from out of state and they came during August because they just could. And they missed out because they had to go to nursing stuff.
Yeah.
So I think like that needs to be really taken into consideration because as nurses, like we're kind of isolated, and so we're isolated from the beginning, and that just sucks because you can't meet new people.
Thank you. Maka, I saw a hand. I know there are a couple orientation leaders over there if you'd like to speak.
Hi, I'm Amaka, and I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I've been an orientation leader for 2 years now, so I've been through all 3 orientations. And I guess my biggest concern is like being coming into college is already a great shock because obviously like a lot of people come from smaller high schools. So I feel like if you have one full orientation, that's going to be like so many people all at once. I feel like that's going to be kind of, I feel like for me as a freshman that would have been too much. Diane, the orientation leader, came up with the idea of maybe having 2 orientation where it's like one for just people from Ohio and one for out-of-state, which I feel like that would alleviate all the stress I feel like for orientation like in general. Plus it would give, I feel like it would give a more quality experience for the coming freshmen.
Thank you. Representative Sabe.
I have a question. So since it's a week before school starts, I'm assuming like, will they be living in the dorms they'll be living in?
Yes, you will move into your fall housing.
And then are the groups divided by like floor, like are you going to be with your floor mates?
I don't know the specific details about that, but
Usually I think it's random. James might be able to attest to this.
It's just like, I remember like staying up late and playing cards and stuff since you knew you were with your group and you'd sleep, and like they didn't want people moving around too much. So I'm not sure if what's like living arrangements and what group you're in.
Okay, everyone, we plan on spending only about 10 minutes for this discussion, and we've quickly approached that. So we're just going to take a couple more comments. Vice President Hale.
Just because I've heard a couple comments, especially that one, as far as logistical things. This is what I did last summer. This is the office I work in. Those questions of logistics have not been answered yet and won't be answered for a while because everyone's very carefully considering them. So I ask you, like, please trust me and my office mates to work through those. I mean, this is a change, but it's not impossible. Other schools do it with much larger populations. But those are questions of like where people are going to live, how many days it's going to be, how this affects welcome days. Those are things that just can't be answered yet.
Okay. And then point of personal privilege.
Granted. Okay, just to give a couple more people a chance to speak, Representative Feaster.
Thanks. I'm also a first-year student from Columbus, so I didn't have too bad of a trip up here. I actually was kind of anti-fall orientation, and then Theo kind of gave his impassioned argument about why it should be, and now I kind of think it should be. So, but I just think the only thing we need to watch, I like the idea of having all the freshman class here at once, just because I feel like that sense of unity didn't really hit me until welcome days. Like when we were all sitting in the stadium, the OLs know this, and like you guys did the dance and whatnot. It was just like, there are 1,000 of us here and this is my class. And I didn't get that during orientation at all. So I think having everybody there is actually gonna be a good thing. The only thing I'm concerned about is that I felt welcome days is really jam-packed full of stuff. And then orientation is also pretty jammed with activities. So just sticking them all together, especially if a student's also doing case ventures, which I know I did and a lot of other freshman students do, just putting that all in a block all together is just going to be a lot of information at once. So as long as I think we give the freshmen the time to like a little bit more, not free time, but not time when you have to be scheduling or learning where everything is, I don't think it should be a problem about being overwhelming. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you. Okay. Final comment, Representative Ladelfa.
I just want to say that in terms of having everything in that week in August, I think that would put a lot of pressure on the freshman athletes. I know this year particularly, there were a couple people that were not able to participate in their fall sports due to some type of NCAA regulation on how many practices. And so usually coaches say, if you can come to the earlier orientations, that's better. So I think that's something that, if that's going to happen, you need to coordinate that with the coaches and the staff, because I think that's not right if people aren't going to have the opportunity to do the extracurriculars that they want to. So something to think about. I don't know if they mentioned that at all. Something that James and the orientation committee can look into for sure.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'll leave any closing remarks to President Agwal.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for your comments. This is not going to be the end of this discussion. This was a preliminary round of talk. The next step that I've been discussing with Shengbo is to invite Vice President Bischoff to GA next week, where we'll have a similar discussion, a more constructive discussion where you can ask some questions to him about the change, why it happened, whatever you'd like. So we'll invite him next week. I would say just say that USG's role in this whole discussion is just to facilitate more student input. We haven't decided anything about what we're doing. Exec is going to be talking about it pretty extensively on Thursday. So again, as always, I invite you guys to come to exec, and no one ever comes. So, but again, I will keep on inviting, so you can come if you'd like to talk more about that, express your concerns. So thanks again for this discussion.
Okay. With that, we're in general open forum. Are there any points for open forum? Representative Ridgway.
So does anybody know what's happening in Leutner, like with the smell, with the that's coming from like the drinking area? Do you know if that's being like fixed anytime soon? Anyone? It's like terrible.
Okay. Noted. Representative Feaster.
The only thing I can say about that is this is pure me overhearing some of the Leutner employees talking. They're very much aware of it. Yeah. So I would assume that hopefully they're going to do something about it. Just so they do know it's there.
Okay, thank you. Vice President Shaw.
Don't forget the surprise this Saturday, mass funding. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to come. It's going to be a lot of fun. The more people who get their hands on these forms and work this out, the better mass funding will be, the easier it'll be, the faster it will go. There will be food. I'll try and get breakfast in the morning and maybe Qdoba for lunch. But I really would immensely appreciate it if you guys can come out, even if it's for a couple of hours, because any effort that you put in at all will make mass funding a lot easier. Thank you.
I have a quick question personally. Yeah. Say someone's doing Saturday of service that day. Do you need help in the afternoon still?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Representative Williams.
Yeah.
This actually is right along those lines. Does anybody know what these 3 items have in common? A Shetland pony, airfare for 10 to California, and butane and torches. Those are all things that have been asked for during mass funding last year. So if you want to see these ridiculous requests and more and then properly deny them because we can't do any of them, please come to mass funding. But we funded a lot of other stuff, so.
Thank you. Representative Gallo.
Yeah, so just like a little IM philanthropy update for all of you. Everything I'm going to say right now is going to be more detailed later, but this is just a brief overview. There's a dance marathon this weekend. It's from Saturday from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. in Veal. Pretty much what you're supposed to do is stay on your feet for 12 hours straight, and it's meant to support kids with cancer that are being treated at UH. All the proceeds get donated to the program. To inform more, I'll send an email, you can sign up with that. Case Cabaret. This isn't a philanthropy event, but it's just something happening on the campus that you might want to go to. Spartan Tappers, Jugglers, Case in Point dance team, along with free Jimmy Johns. This is Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Also an event happening this weekend, men's soccer team made the NCAA playoffs. They have a first round home game this weekend. Actually, the first 2 rounds are home games if they make it to the second round. The first round is Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. It's against DePaul. I am soccer. We're undefeated, like President Agarwal said. I believe we've outscored our opponents 21-6 this season, which is good if you know anything about soccer. We won our first round of the playoffs. Next game's tomorrow night at 8:30 against the Monstars. So if you guys want to support us, come out and watch. And also next Friday is Mr. CWRU, Mr. Crew. What this entails, it's in Strosacker for the next question. 3 sections. There's like 3 main components of Mr. Crew. There's beachwear, your rep costume, which would be a USG outfit for us, and formal wear, which would be like a suit, shirt, tie, whatever. If you make it to the next portion, it's a talent segment, and if you make it to the finals, it's a question and answer. The reason I'm mentioning this, even though it's next Friday, we need a submission by tonight. So if you have any suggestions as to who you want to submit for that, or if a guy wants to do it, let me know. And last thing is, it's not No Shave November because that's not very fun. It's actually Movember, which is where you grow out your mustache. And it looks a lot better. If you have any questions, let me know.
Vice President Cruz.
I'm just going to point out that the women's soccer team also made it to the NCAA finals for the first time in state history, and I think they deserve some credit. And their first game is 1:30 on Saturday.
Okay. Representative Moeller.
I intend fully to dive into a resolution soon regarding PE credit for club sports. If you have an opinion, think about it for 5 seconds right now, and then send it to me when you get home after GA. I would like to include, I like to gauge your opinion, I guess. Thank you.
Representative Thomas.
Just reminder that we have a caucus meeting after this. Engineering.
Any other points for open forum? Okay. Advisors report, Divya?
Colleen did not have an advisor's report, but she loves you dearly. That's all.
Okay. Announcements? Any other announcements? Representative McHenry.
Okay, this is just ego speaking. The varsity swimming and diving team are having their first home meet this Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. on Friday, either 12 p.m. or 2 p.m. or both on Saturday, depending on how we do on Friday. Taryn is going to be diving at John Carroll, and I will be doing the swimming portion at the Veal Natatorium. So if you want to come out and support the swim and dive team, we love it.
Representative Mueller.
Good old NT tonight. If you don't know what that means, you haven't been listening to anything I say all year.
Any other announcements? President Agarwal.
Okay, 2 for me. So I really need 4 more people for this scavenger hunt tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. They'll get you good food. So it's only for like an hour and a half. I would go, but I have class right while it's happening. So it's just a scavenger hunt tomorrow at KSL from 4 to 5:30. I need a couple more people. If you can do it, please let me know. And last announcement I have is that SEC is holding an open forum on November 18th in Twing Atrium during community hour, and USG is going to be sponsoring pizza for that. So it's an opportunity for you to ask SEC anything. All of the organizations will be there. USG obviously, RHA, UPB, so on and so forth. You can ask us about policies, you can ask us about anything you'd like. So come out for that. And that's it.
Parliamentarian McKee.
if you nominated somebody to fill a vacancy tonight, please see me after the meeting for a quick 10-second chat.
Representative Gallo.
Remember to send me those CWRU, Mr. CWRU nominations.
Secretary Brown.
Okay, I just wanted to thank you guys for filling out the check-in and candy survey. Just wanted to tell you that I will be compiling that over the next couple days, and then I will be presenting that to execs so we can work on the suggestions and feedback you gave us, so we can make GA or anything that you guys didn't like or did like, and work on improving USG as a whole even more. So if you did fill it out, I have a giant bag of candy for you guys. So see me afterwards, you guys.
Representative Mueller. Any dissent?
Somebody has a point.
I had no idea what you. I couldn't hear you. Well, I didn't know she was there. I just thought I didn't know that. I think that was the end of the table. I'm like, I don't see it. He said Taylor, I would have known. But I thought Laura was the end of the table.
Andrew Brown.